Extra entries to this number, that's 57111. Lines will close at 5:30 today. Entrance must be over 18 and full details are available on rte.ie/TV/competitions, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the show. Now, they do say rules are made to be broken, but without rules, is it possible to have order, especially in a school? Well, see for yourself.
I suppose what makes us different here is that when we opened in 2003, I had a particular interest in William Glasser's choice theory. And he bases his theory on the fact that everything we do is based on good and solid relationships. That rather than actually imposing sanction or imposing rules on them, that in real terms, if our relationship was good enough with them, they would actually want to do stuff for us. They would want to get involved in education. If we made education fun for them, they'd want to do it. The only 3 rules we have in the centre are the rules of the law of the land. And the first one would be that if I shout fire, you get out of the building. The second rule we have is that if you assault another person, if you hit another person, you then suddenly become a danger to yourself or somebody else. And the final one would be around drugs and substance use. If anybody brought a drug, an illegal drug into the building, again that's against the law. Everything else other than that is negotiable and open for discussion.
Time for living, time for giving, no time for making up a monster to share.
Mainstream education suits some students, but it doesn't suit all students. So the majority of students that we have coming to Youthreach will have found great difficulty in mainstream education. That could be because the curriculum doesn't meet their needs. It could be that they find the topics uninteresting. There can be a number of reasons why. And usually when they come into Youthreach, we then start to address whatever the needs are of the students.
The students that are referred to us mostly by the local schools, or maybe by local agencies, or maybe as self-referral, students deciding themselves or choosing themselves that mainstream education is not for them. So what we do is we say to them, you know, when they come in the door and sit down and say, we've no rules. And then I stop them then and I say, but can you hear any noise in the corridors? Do you see anybody going nuts here? No, it doesn't happen. It's not about coming into a situation where coercion and rules are going to dictate and control is going to tell them how to behave. I'm saying to them, I'm asking you to take control of yourself, and we will work on that basis.
I was in the school down the road and didn't get on in the school. I just didn't get respect I wanted from the teachers and stuff like that, so I just got an interview here and came here. It's better. There's no rules, but it doesn't really affect people because they act the same, and just because there's no rules they wouldn't behave differently. We work hard and teachers don't be moaning on you the whole time. If I wasn't here I'd probably, I don't know, be in the same trouble and stuff down there, maybe even kicked out of school.
Kept getting into trouble and spending more days than I was in school, so just have to get out of it. If I wasn't here I'd be just sitting at home doing nothing.
We do maths and we do English, we do all the same sort of subjects, but there's more IT and ECD, yeah, we do that as well, and art, childcare as well we do, which is really good as well. So if you have an interest in that, you could do a PLC in that, and it gives you ideas for what you want to do when you want to go to college. It's up to yourself, so it's a choice you make yourself, and you're treated like an adult, and you start from an early age. You see the difference in people when they come in. Like the younger lads will come in, they kind of be messing and all, then after a few months here they're settled down and they're quiet and they go on more mature.
Well, we have Principal Liz Lavery and student Stephen. You saw him there, Stephen King in the VT just there. So Stephen, how come you ended up going to the Youthreach Centre? It's based in Trim, isn't it, right?
Yes,
how come you ended up going there in the first place?
I just didn't fit in mainstream school. It didn't suit me. I didn't feel comfortable in. I was in a dark place, Mark.
Okay.
And it was lucky that I found Youthreach in Trim.
And so when you heard, I mean, that's how we've sort of trailed it all the way through the show about no rules. Yeah. Was that something that shocked you, or you were?
It did shock me because I had rules in mainstream school and they didn't work. Yeah. So when I went to Youthreach, I was like, whoa, this is a bit weird. But after a few months, and I chatted to Liz and my parents, I built up a trust and relationship, and that's what Youthreach is about. And it does work, and it's amazing how it's worked.
How does it work?
I think the teachers respect you for who you are, and the students do that as well. So, like, you're at the same level. Yeah.
So, how did you feel, say, in your previous school? What's the main difference?
I felt like I was looked down on. I had no confidence at all. You know, I was kind of embarrassed who I was, and I was walking in that door saying like, oh, I hate this, I was dreading it. Now in Youthreach I have a choice, and I want to go in, I want to learn.
So you're not being forced into
No, not at all.
Fantastic. So Liz, we saw there on the video, I've pretty much thrown the rule book out, apart from those three core rules. What happens if the students break any of those rules?
Well, I suppose when you think about it, you're assuming that when you have a rule, that it's something you have to keep, and that's because somebody else has told you to keep it. And we don't look at it from that perspective at all. We're saying, if you have a good relationship with somebody, we can explain to you why you should do a particular thing from your own control rather than from being told by somebody else. So I can say to my students, if I wanted to, when I shout fire, you get out of the building, because that's the rule in the school. So they would say, well, they can choose to go or not. I'm more inclined to say to Stephen and his class, if the fire breaks out in this building, you're going to be hurt. I don't want you to be hurt. I care enough about you to want to keep you safe. So if I shout fire at the building, what do you think is the right thing to do? So it isn't a rule that you must get out. It's a rule that you're looking at and saying, well, this is in my best interest.
There's a rationale behind it.
It's a rationale. It has to have a rationale behind it. And I think that's what the whole, I mean, I think we're caught so much up in rules now that, you know, you have to do this, you must do that. If you look at it from a rationale point of view and give a reason why you should or shouldn't do something and leave the person to make their choice, it makes much better sense.
Well, what about, you know, say the assault or the banned substances? What, you know, I mean, what's the rationale there? How does that become incorporated?
Well, one of the things that we have in our centre is that we are a centre of education. You know, County Meath VEC is an education provider. It's my job to make sure that person gets an education irrespective. So there's nothing can happen in our centre that isn't negotiable. Now, if a student hits another student, it is assault. And I would have to make sure that that person is not in a classroom where he can be a danger to himself or somebody else. But I still have an opportunity to work with that student on a one-to-one level or in a small group setting where I know he'll be safe and still give him what he wants, because he must leave me with what he came for in the first place. And maybe one little blip in that is not the end of the world. Now, of course,
so you kind of get out of it what you put into it.
Absolutely.
Do you see this as a revolutionary thing?
It shouldn't be revolutionary. I suppose from mainstream education, because it's built in that type of system, it could be seen as revolutionary. But it shouldn't be seen like that, because really the only person we can control is ourselves. So if as educationalists we're teaching people to control ourselves, it shouldn't be revolutionary. But I suppose it is seen like that, all right.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of personal responsibility, and it seems that that's what it's all about. I believe you had a very big day today.
We had a huge day today.
What happened?
Do you want to tell them?
We had we were nominated as the first quality school in Ireland, which was fantastic.
See the pictures there?
Yeah.
Minister Noel Dempsey?
Yeah, he was there,
That's fantastic. And what does that mean to the centre?
Well, it means a lot to us for our present status, I suppose, as a centre, and also to the future of education in Ireland, because we're a Youthreach centre and we're a Youthreach setting, and we'd like to think that a model of education where it's non-coercive can be rolled out throughout the services, and we're living proof that it works. It's very easy for people to say it won't work. It's a great theory on paper, but it'll never work. But it does.
The example seems to be here that it is working. It's been a real pleasure. I'll be watching it with great interest. Stephen, Liz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
Good luck for the future. Thank you. So for more information on the Youthreach Centre of Education, log on to rte.ie/the afternoon show or Airtel page 340.